Okay, welcome back. This is the continuation of the Shame Saga, part two. Now, these four lies are based on the book Search for Significance. I don't want anybody confused, think I've come up with this. Thank you, Dr. McGee, Robert McGee. Anyways, not doctor, it's Robert McGee. Anyways, just continuing the saga, I just need you to know I mentioned last time that in this part we would look at body dysmorphic, and it's a way you don't see yourself as you really are. You know, you see yourself fat when a person's looking at someone that maybe weighs 26 pounds. You know what I mean? You don't see yourself as you are because you see yourself through the lens of shame that has, you know, like those mirrors in the at the different circuses where you can look and it makes you fat, makes you look skinny, tall, short. Shame skews the picture. You don't see yourself accurately. Shame is stronger than a people could say a million times that you're beautiful, but not you don't think you're beautiful. I remember a woman that was so beautiful that people used to get their hair done by her just to stare at her. But if you talk to her privately, she's so self-conscious, so nervous about her looks, and you're staring at one of those beautiful people you probably ever looked at. But all I knew is who shamed her, what happened, how did her heart get broken, damaged goods mentality, how in the world? Okay, so body dysmorphic. This is the last, I call this is the last chapter in the shame saga. You know, we looked at self-consciousness, people who don't want to be involved because they don't want to be criticized. We look at people who feel damaged, not worthy, pretty hopeless, never change. We look at the reality that addiction and shame are inextricably linked. Fuel line, addiction. Try to find where the shame's coming from. Heal the damage, you heal the addiction. Anyways, one aspect of heart damage, heart perspective being off, your soul and mind is not accurate, is body dysmorphic. You don't see yourself accurately. And what a classic illustration of it in our world. We are obsessed. I mean, millions and billions of dollars are used on commercials and product to make sure a woman doesn't look her age, is more beautiful than she perceives herself. I mean, it's incredible. Every time I see another commercial of something else to make a woman not look her age, I think, good golly, it just wear a mask. I mean, really. Anyways, where does that bleed from? There's that heart wound, that broken, damaged area, a piece of the heart that was not given to Jesus. And you went about your methodology of trying to feel better about yourself and your intent of not feeling bad about yourself. And you trying to, I heard a ball player, oh my goodness, not gonna say the name, but he talked about his fame helps to hold back the shame that he has felt in his heart for a past failure. I said, what did it? And he played it back. I wrote it down. Shame held at bay through power, success, fame, money. But guess what? All of that eventually runs out and doesn't satisfy, and you end up back with what? Shame, damaged goods. Only Jesus. John 17:17 says, sanctify him through your word. Thy word is truth. Sanctified means set apart as special to God. You being set apart as shame, damaged goods, not worthy. It's amazing. The applause of the world cannot drown out shame. At Vanderbilt College, stunning reality. Here you've got this, you know, highbrow college, usually pretty wealthy if you go, unless you get a scholarship. They have reported that the plumbing in the girls' dorm has to be replaced twice as many times as for the boys' dorm because of all the bulimics that live in the dorm. And all that self-induced vomiting has so much acid in it, it ruins their pipes. I heard that from Vanderbilt. Okay, talk about body beautiful, the shame, hoping that the disguise of body beautiful to hide the shamed heart, the damaged heart, the broken heart. Like we said last time, all the pieces that you're keeping in an envelope, that Jesus wants you to give it to him, and he will put the pieces back together and heal your broken heart, your damaged heart. Listen to this. Eleanor Roosevelt, some of you have not necessarily know a lot about her apart from her name, and she was the president's wife, but she was a remarkable woman. There's all this stuff written about her, all that she accomplished behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, caring for her sick husband who's as a president, everything she accomplished with her life. As she was dying, she was asked by someone if she could change anything about her life, what would she change? She didn't say my husband not being in a wheelchair and having to be saddled with how hard that was been and how she had to compensate. She said, I wish I'd been born beautiful. All that she accomplished with her life. And her conclusion was she wished she had been born beautiful. Body beautiful, body dysmorphic, shame game. Where'd her heart get broken? Made me think of that when I read that. One time I got asked out by a boy that everybody was talking about. Everyone hoped that when he showed up at this party everybody was going to, that he would be the lucky girl he might talk to and who he could maybe get, who would end up on a date with him. And when I started hearing it all, man, I just moved to the other side of the party because I knew nobody would be looking my direction. Remember, damaged goods. I'm over here, self-conscious. Goodbye. Loud, funny, but very self-conscious. Self-deprecating, a lot of humor. So I moved to the other side of the party, all these girls, blah, blah, blah. They're all oohing and on him. And he beelines it to the guy standing next to me. And I'm like, oh, no. Well, anyways, long story short, he ends up talking to me all night with blah, blah, blah. He's the one that asked me out. I go home to tell my mother I'm in a state of shock. First thing out of my mother's mouth, didn't so-and-so, I won't say the name, so-and-so go with you? I mean, she was striking, beautiful. And he said he didn't ask her out, but he asked you. He says, well, I'm surprised he didn't ask her out because she's beautiful, but you got a good personality. You hang in there. I was in ninth grade. I thought, okay. I knew I was not beautiful. I've never thought that. But I meant that I had a good personality. That'll carry me. Okay, thanks for that one. All right. It starts early. Another thing to just be aware of, Jill Briscoe said this, and I thought, oh, this is so good. Jill Briscoe literally says that she has given thanks to God many times for him making her ready, ordinary physically. She's not someone you would compete with, not someone that would make you feel self-conscious. She said she's been invited to more events where these women will be in at this table and she's the guest to sit with them, and she could feel the self-consciousness when she sits down. She feels everybody like uncomfortable with each other, like they're all in a competition. And the Lord showed her they are. Every one of them is checking each other's outfits out, looking at how much weight this one's lost or how much she's gained. Now, the men listening to this are like, seriously? Guys do it too. They just do it with their muscle cars and their little toys, we call that. Because I said to my husband, why does someone have to have a yacht 380 feet? 380. He said, to show off. It's all about showing off. Nobody has them just for the pleasure. You can cruise on a 100-foot yacht. 380? Yeah, but you can brag on a 380. Anyways, Jill Briscoe said she's grateful. And a friend of mine heard this, and she thought she was going to visit a woman who's going through a terrible crisis. And the woman invited her house, and she goes through the front door, and she looked at the mirror as she's coming in, and her hair looked pretty fancy. So she pulls a clip out of her hair and just kind of messed her hair up really quick. And the woman turned around, looked at her, and kind of, I was hoping she didn't look too spectacular. I mean, because it didn't want to shut the woman down. And this woman, trust me, is spectacular looking. I'm not saying you have to wear a baseball cap and not wash your hair for 7 days, but sometimes beauty intimidates. But ironically, the beautiful don't usually think they're beautiful. Again, remember, it goes, if you feel beautiful in your heart, beautiful. Forgiven in your heart, beautiful. Someone said something about a woman. Oh, yeah, she's beautiful. Just don't let her open her mouth. Her heart is ugly. So your mouth speaks from what your heart's full of. So the shame, be careful, especially when you put yourself down and you do it humorously. A lot of people use that as a ploy. Okay, so when someone asked if I'm going to do balcony chats again a year later, and I'm going, really, do I want to get on film again? And previously, someone saw a picture, sent me an email, said that they would, private, on Facebook, they saw my picture, wrote me and said they'd be willing to help pay for any kind of plastic surgery I need. I have what's called a lazy eye. Remember I mentioned it on the right side. And you can try to fix it, but it's muscular. So you pull it up, it'll slide back down. So no point. Anyways, but it was sweet offer. But I started thinking, wow, was it bothering you that much? I don't even know if I thought much about it till that comment. Well, what's interesting is I had to get past that comment to do the balcony chat. And I had to humble myself and say, Lord, forgive me for being so self-absorbed in what someone else thinks. There I am, approval from certain people. Here's the shame game. It made me realize it must be a little piece of my heart still not in place. So I want to go through a chapter, not a whole chapter, but some scriptures that literally last year when I read this, my first thought was, oh, I was just doing balcony chats because I really need to share this. And I call this is the anthem for the shamed and broken heart. This is an anthem for the damaged heart, the one that feels like, forget it, I'm hopeless. You can't believe what I've been through. I don't think I can ever get past what happened to me. Well, guess what? Jesus is all about healing broken hearts. In fact, one of the names for him is Cardia Nosti, heart knower. He knows how to heal a broken heart. I'm proof of it. Like I said, I wonder about the lies that my siblings chose that ended up, so many of them, in addiction to and suicide, and the truth that I embrace that has me walking with Jesus 57 and a half years and finding hope in a hopeless world. If you really put your finger in our world, took your temperature, not good right now. But guess what? Jesus goes, hey, I'm still on the throne, still in charge. No matter what it looks like everything's falling apart. It's all falling into place. Jesus knows, be at peace. All right, so I want to talk about a passage, Luke 8. Hear it? Luke 8, 40 through 48. We all know the story. A lot of us who know the scriptures. It's the woman who had been bleeding for 12 years. No matter what doctor she went to, he could never heal. She could never get healed. So she spent 12 years being treated among her people, the Jewish people, as a leper. So that means family members didn't even come in her house. They'd stand at the doorway and greet her and leave food for her, but that's it. No touch, no hug, no kindness, because they had to limit exposure. 12 years of isolation, quarantine, pandemic for this poor woman. So this crowd of people are moving, and Jesus is walking with the head of the synagogue, Jairus, whose daughter's dying, and he's going to come heal her. Well, of course, he's en route to something very significant. Jairus is escorting him in the crowd when the woman spots him. And she thought, if I could just touch the hem, if I could just touch the hem. Why the hem? On the hem, a Jewish, on their hems of the robes, they have little blue cords sewn, like tassels. And it's to remind them, based on Numbers 15. In fact, I need to look the scripture up. Numbers 15, 37 through 41. It's a reminder that when they look at it, to obey the Lord. To obey is to be holy, which means separated unto God. Doesn't mean perfect, it means this one's mine. So he thought, if I could just touch the holiness on his robe, I'll be healed. So she crushes through the crowd and she touches. I mean, she's all the way down. The way she didn't trample. Touched the hem. The minute she touched it, she was healed because she thought, if I just touch it, I'll be healed. And Jesus stops and said, who touched me? His disciples like, what are you talking about? Who touched you? There's a whole crowd here. And he said, who touched me? I felt the power go out of me. And the crowd parts. And here she's on the ground, admitting to him, it was me, Lord. She rises and he looks at her and he says, daughter, your faith has healed you. So this was my question. Then I read it. I thought, wait a minute. This woman had lived in a hopeless state. She couldn't get her body healed, or her hopelessness sets in the heart, because Proverbs 13:12 says, a hope deferred makes the heart sick. So her heart was as sick as her body. Why did Jesus stop? Her body was already healed, but her heart wasn't. And I know many Christians, yes, they've been saved. Yes, they've come to Jesus. Yes, their name's in the Lamb's Book of Life. Yes, their name's written, in heaven. He knew before the foundation of the earth. Okay, chosen in Christ. Before Genesis 1:1. Hello, all of that. I know people who know that, but their hearts are still not healed. So when Jesus said, daughter, your faith has healed you, Jesus never used that word again. That is a very affectionate term. She was not a young person that an older man's talking to. She was a peer, because it's the tender, there's nothing more tender than the word daughter. So Jesus used an affectionate term because she needed her heart healed, not just her body. Is that cool? So my prayer has become, I know so many people that I know their bodies, let's say, for example, their bodies have been healed, but their hearts are still sick. Yes, they are born again. Yes, they belong to Jesus, but they still have sick hearts like I had, from damaged goods, from the shame game, from the performance trap, from the approval addict. Oh man, what a mess I was. But the more I've been in God's word, it's like I hear in the morning, good morning, daughter. And I'm like, good morning, Papa God. Matthew 23:9, just for those who doubt that he's my Papa. Hopelessness makes you sick. But once again, the damaged heart, he wants to put it back together. And so when I see people who are really struggling, even though I know they know the Lord and they're Christians that are really battling in life, they are not getting ahead. They are struggling on so many fronts that you look at them like a hot mess. And immediately I think, oh my goodness, I am looking at a bleeding heart, a hemorrhaging heart. Yeah, the body's not bleeding, but the heart is. And they need the master physician to heal the heart. So now I pray, oh, that she might hear daughter. And if it's a guy, oh, that he might someday hear son. And that intimate terminology will heal. And a bonus to that passage in Luke 8, another person used the word daughter. And who was it? Those of us who know Lady in Waiting in the book of Ruth, Boaz, the first term he used for the Moabite girl from the wrong side of the track, grieving, damaged goods because she came from the wrong society. Get this, he called her daughter, Boaz, not because he's an old man and liking a young girl. No, that's the most affectionate term. And he said, daughter, may God bless you for what you've done for Naomi. All my kinsmen know you're a woman of virtue, calling her daughter. Well, I have to say, when I was dating my husband, he would call me princess. And I would say, please do not say that out loud. Write me in the note. Don't say it out loud. Please, please do not say it out loud. I don't want anybody to hear you say princess, because trust me, I'm not a princess. He said, well, to me, you are. See, there was the damaged goods still. Damaged goods. I'm that girl winning the sweetheart queen, and everybody's saying you don't deserve it. So the damaged heart needed some more healing. I didn't correlate that. I thought I was just self-conscious. No, I have damaged heart. I have a shamed heart. And my God bless me with a Boaz who's been part of God's healing, because he's always treated me like a princess, even when I've been a hot mess. So I went to a sexual abuse seminar in which Dan Allender challenged all of us to look where we go when we're in pain, and that we need a verse to claim that God is going to heal this heart wound, because it's major. It's very deep. That's why Satan uses it so much, because it's such a deep heart wound. And God gave me at that conference Isaiah 61:7, where it says that God is going to take my shame, and in exchange, he's going to give me a double portion and a double blessing. And I remember sitting there going, okay, I'm ready for the double blessing and the double portion. And man, has he kept his word. And yes, it's not an unusual thing that something gets brought up that is painful, but I know where to go with it. I don't panic. I don't run for the fridge for ice cream or run for my pounder bag of M&Ms with peanuts. I pause and take a breath. Oh, thank you, Cardionosti, my heart healer. And I know you will continue to heal my broken heart and stop the bleeding. For those of you who know Jesus, but you know that your body's been healed, but your heart needs some healing, come freely, boldly into the throne of grace. Hebrews 4:15-16. Charge in there. Papa God, I'm here. I'm here for the surgery. I'm here for the healing. Okay, next time we're going to look at some principles that will help fortify you against these 4 lies that we have covered. God bless. See you next week.